It's time for HawgSports Live from HawgSports.com, a division of 24/7 Sports, presented by Crain Automotive. The Crain team's got 'em. Visit them online at crainteam.com. And now with the latest breaking updates on HawgSports, here's Trey Biddy.
What's up, everybody? Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, HAWGsports.com. Arkansas swept the weekend. Baseball team winning 5-2, 7-6, and 11-0 over Xavier over the weekend. And, of course, the basketball team with a 94-86 win over Missouri in Bud Walton Arena. We're going to discuss what's next for both programs. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit about football. We'll get your questions. Also, Kevin Bohannon and Connor Goodson going to join us on today's episode of HawgSports Live. The Crain Automotive Team has 16 locations across our state and is home to the Crain Commitment. You'll find Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Hyundai, Kia, Volkswagen, and access to thousands of pre-owned vehicles. Vehicles for every lifestyle and every budget. Even if you're not in the market for a vehicle, the Crain Team Service Centers offer the latest in vehicle diagnostic technology and certified technicians to take care of your vehicle and get you back on the road. Check them out at crainteam.com. HawgSports Live is driven by the Crain Automotive Team.
You've done it. Now you're the Crain Cash Champ. You just won big with the Crain Team. Go ahead, soak it up. How could you not feel like a winner? You dominated with our low price guarantee, and you got way more for your trade. Plus, with statewide delivery on thousands of vehicles from 16 locations, and the fact that we'll beat any other dealer's price, we make our Kansans feel like champions every day. That's winning. That's the Crain Team. Visit crainteam.com.
Okay, just to touch on football real quick, and we'll get back to that as some questions go that direction. But Arkansas with spring game, April 25th. Spring football will start on March 15th. So we're just a few weeks away from the start of spring football. Not sure what level of access we'll get, but I assume we'll get some access, but that hasn't been laid out. We do know that they're going to start that Sunday. They'll go Tuesday, they'll go Thursday, they'll break for spring break, they'll come back and go Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, leading all the way up to the red-white game on April 25th. No time has been set for that red-white game just yet, but a new era in Razorback football has started, and we'll finally get to see them on the field for the first time. Billy Richmond was fantastic, 21 points on 9 of 14 shooting. Once again, very efficient. Darius Acuff with another 20-point game. I don't guess the SEC Freshman of the Week has been announced yet, but it's going to be Darius Acuff for the 8th time. A guy that you could make a serious argument for, not only SEC Freshman of the Year, which I think is locked up at this point, obviously, but SEC Player of the Year. Is that a possibility? Could depend on how Arkansas finishes, and we'll get into that a little bit. But a nice game. You know, Malik Ewan, it's good to see him bounce back with 16 points, 6 of 11. Shooting in 31 minutes, had 4 fouls, a block shot, 8 rebounds. I sat in the stands for a good portion of the game on Saturday, and we were just talking like if Arkansas gets 15% of that, what they got out of Ewan against Alabama, then they win that game against Alabama. But it's good to see after a lackluster performance. He went over 4 against Alabama, had some bad plays in that double overtime. That second overtime, but bounced back with 16 and 8 in this one. It was plus 12 also. Of course, Darius Acuff continues to be outstanding. The word is on campus he is in a walking boot today. So got to get him healthy. Isaiah Sealy was available on Saturday. That's good to know, but they only played 7 players. But they did have him available. They're probably going to need him against Texas A&M. As we know, Carter Knox is going to be out probably 6 weeks, which is basically the rest of the season. Arkansas only has 4 games left the rest of the way. Arkansas is currently 20th in the AP poll. I don't know if that's been updated, actually. I don't think this has been updated yet. What week are we in? It says week 16. No idea to tell what week we're in when it comes to all that. But you look at the standings right now, Florida is 12-2 in the conference. Alabama is 10-4 and has a head-to-head win over Arkansas. Arkansas also 10-4. Tennessee is 10-4. Texas A&M is 9-5. Arkansas's next opponent. Texas A&M's sank a little bit, but they bounced back these last few games. So Arkansas Obviously beating Mississippi State, LSU, Auburn, dropping that double overtime game in Tuscaloosa, and then coming back home and beating Missouri. Up next, Texas A&M. That's an 8 o'clock game on Wednesday. That's a big one. Got to win really every single one of these games the rest of the way to have a shot at winning the overall, but you may be looking and playing more to get that first round bye, finish second. You need to beat Florida on the road. That would go a long way in doing that. And of course, you got Texas. I mean, let's just go through it real quick. You got Texas A&M on Wednesday. You're at Florida Saturday. It's a 7:30 game. That's a hot ticket in Gainesville, I'm sure. You got Texas on Wednesday in Fayetteville, and then you're at Missouri on Saturday, March 7th, to wrap up the regular season. And then it's on to the SEC tournament. I'd like to tell you real quick about our friends over at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. Blakeman's Jewelry is proud to be the official jeweler of the Arkansas Razorbacks. Well, I would encourage you to visit them in person because the store is just outrageous. There's nothing like it in the region, really. It's a phenomenal new location at 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway in Rogers, Arkansas, 72758. But you can also shop them online, and they have delivery. So you can go to BlakemansFineJewelry.com or visit them again at 3202 Pinnacle Hills Parkway, Rogers, Arkansas, at their brand new location. Built on tradition since 1987, Blakeman's has been Northwest Arkansas's trusted destination for exceptional jewelry and personalized service. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry, where Arkansas gets engaged. Very nice people working at Blakeman's, Razorback people from this area. All over the state. I know people that are, have moved up from Little Rock to work at Blakeman's. So, okay. Appreciate our sponsors and the folks over at Blakeman's. All right, so I think we're going to go right into Connor Goodson, maybe pop in a little bit earlier than I expected with Connor. But first, I want to play this clip from John Calipari, as we do. This is just a 1-minute quick clip after the Missouri game.
That's their deal of rebounding and sending guys, and they're good. They got shooters, they got scorers, they got guards. They're huge. They can post the ball when they need to. Mitchell's as good as anybody in our league. It's the softest 21, most quiet 21 points that I've seen in my 26 years of coaching. Billy Richmond, you would never know he just had 21 points. I did not know what to expect, and I was prepared to defend them if they just didn't have it today. And what I told the staff, if they really come out and give us something, they're better than I thought. Anytime we have 20 assists, we win, except at Alabama. DJ has been with me 3 years. I want him to be more confident. You can't say, well, you take him out when he makes them. We don't have any players.
Connor, what'd you think about the game this weekend and John Calipari also?
I mean, I thought Arkansas handled their business. I thought that they were really resilient, being down without Carter Knox. Obviously, Isaiah Seeley was marked as available, but he didn't play with that hip injury. So they were still down their normal rotation that they had against Alabama, and they kind of answered the call, I felt like. And they've just kind of been a resilient bunch when they've had their backs against the wall this season. And like Calipari said there, he was prepared to come into the press conference and defend them if they didn't have it with the short turnaround, Darius Acuff in a boot, but still playing 50 minutes against Alabama, only having 48 hours rest. It might be a tall task to ask of any other team to show up and play their best basketball. But Arkansas, they're proving that they're a different bunch mentally when they want to be. And I think that was the biggest thing that stuck out to me is that they dug deep. Billy Richmond, I can't say enough about him either, with just bringing the energy and changing the trajectory of the game with just the way he plays and his style. And Cal called it like a sleepy or a silent, quiet 21.
Soft.
I didn't feel that way because I felt like he changed soft 21. Yeah, I didn't see that because anytime he entered the game, man, the energy just picked up, and that's just been the story of his season so far.
Is Cal a card player? Because like a soft 21 is not a face card and an ace. It's like spread out. That's a soft 21.
It wouldn't surprise me if he hit the blackjack tables every now and then. He seems like he's got a good poker face.
Yeah. Connor joins us on the Ozarks Go hotline. You can reach out to them at 479-684-4900 if you're looking for fast, consistent, reliable internet service, or go to ozarksgo.net/hog. Look them up online, see if they're available in your area. And the good thing about Ozarks Go is when you call and reach out to them, you're going to talk to somebody local, not somebody shipped off to a call center or something like that, because it's a local company. It's a local company, and it works consistently. Several different tiers of internet service. I use the max one, the gigabit. Plus, I think the gigabit's probably great for most families, most households. So check out our friends over at Ozarks Go. So, Connor, Texas A&M is up next. I'm glad that's not a Tuesday game. I'm glad they get a little bit of extra time to get healthier and also get their feet up, under them, because Texas A&M is going to want to run. Yeah.
With Bucky McMillan, he's one of the one of the hot commodities in coaching. He comes from Samford. If you remember back a couple years ago, that Samford team took Kansas to the brink and almost pulled up one of the better upsets in March Madness. They were a foul block call away from advancing on and probably going on a deep run, but his style is very hybrid. So what a lot of basketball coaches are shifting to now, where you're hunting threes, and if you can't get threes, you're getting rim opportunities. Like if you look at their shot chart, there's not a lot in between the rim and the 3-point line. But they also will press you. They run a modern style of that 40 minutes of hell, where they're going to get into you. They're going to pressure you full court, pick you up, and really get into you, play some physical defense, which I think is really interesting when you watch some of their games, just how they're able to use that pressure to kind of flip the mojo and the momentum towards their side. And I think that it's really worked well for them. Obviously, it's going to take him a little while for him to get a couple of recruiting classes, really instill that culture and get it how it was at Samford. But he's a really, really good coach, I feel like. And Texas A&M is one of the surprise teams this year with how good that they've been in his first season.
Speaking of surprise, are you surprised how things have kind of shaken out so far with the SEC? With obviously Florida at 12-2, coming off a national championship, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee all tied for second, and then you go to Texas A&M at fourth at 9-5, and then a host of teams at 8-6. You surprised how it's shaken out so far?
A little bit. Coming into the season, I probably I wouldn't have pegged Florida to be this good, just because I didn't really believe that front court or that back court was good enough to hang with that front court. That's like, an all-time, all-century team, a collection of talent that they have there with their big men. I didn't expect Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee to really have an exceptional turnaround like they did, like they have in conference play. And so I thought it was going to be a little bit more wide open at the top, but Florida, I think right now they're handling their business, and they're showing why they were the national champions last year, and why Todd Golden, I think, is sneakily one of the best coaches in the country. But they're just handling business, and I think that, like we saw last week, I think that some teams are tripping over themselves. Arkansas, obviously, if they could have gotten that win against Alabama, you would have liked where they were a lot more than if you split those games last week. But this is an important week. If they go 2-0 and they do knock off Florida on Saturday, the conversation completely changes, and the door is wide open for Arkansas to sneak in there and take this SEC crown. Obviously, they're going to need a little bit of help from people. They're going to need Florida to stumble one or two times, aside from Saturday, I think. But I really like Arkansas's chances if they can, go 2-0 this week and handle their business for the Final Four games.
Yeah, I mean, Boogie's not just setting it on fire, though. Like, he's only shooting 19.8% from three-point range. His free throw percentage is down almost 11 points, over 11 points, 72.2%. Rebounds are down, assists are down. I mean,
the thing about him, though,
points are down 11.1 versus 13.5 at Arkansas.
Early in the season, he had an issue where he was just forcing it, especially in late game situations. He would feel the need to like try to go takeover mode like he was, times last year, and he would there's just an avalanche of things that go bad, whether there's missed shots, whether it's turnovers, whether it's things like that. And I think that now he realizes that he can be more of a complimentary player than having to to be the cog that makes them go, because they have such talented guys at the down low at the front court. I think that Boogie's kind of taken that on a little bit different role as the season's gone on, and he's kind of understood what he needs to do to make that team go a little bit more. And I think that that's what's made them better, is that he's not forcing the issue as much as he was last year and then earlier in the season for Florida.
Connor Goodson joining us again. You can follow him at Connor Goodson. Read all his content at HawgSports, our primary basketball guy, but does a little bit of everything for us. So looking at the rest of the schedule for Arkansas, you've got Texas A&M on Wednesday. Again, that's at 8 o'clock. That's ESPN2. You follow that up with a trip to Gainesville this weekend, Saturday, February 28th. That's at 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. I'm not sure if they've decided a network for the Texas game on Wednesday, March 4th, and then you wrap it up at Missouri that Wednesday, March 4th at 6 o'clock. So all night games aside from this Missouri game to wrap up the season on Saturday, March 7th at 11 a.m. So that's the way the schedule plays out the rest of the way. Only 4 more games to watch Darius Acuff and company in the regular season, and then it's on to March Madness. Looking at Florida, you're at Texas. You've got Arkansas. So there's a couple of tough games there. Mississippi State ought to win that one, and then at Kentucky. I mean, you're pulling for, obviously, Arkansas, but you're pulling for Texas. You're pulling for Kentucky. And, again, you need Arkansas to win out. And then there's Alabama. Alabama has Mississippi. All these teams won, by the way. Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas, they all won over the weekend. But you've got Mississippi State. They ought to win that one. They're at Tennessee. They're at Georgia. And then they host Auburn. Those are all 3 tough games to finish things out, considering they're especially on the road for at Georgia. And then Auburn, is a rivalry game. And then Tennessee finishes out with at Missouri, Alabama, at South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. And they just beat Vanderbilt by 4 also. So those are the teams at the top of the standings right now and what they have left.
Every team at the top here in the SEC has about 2 or 3 games on their schedule that you could look at in a virtual toss-up. So Arkansas, while the loss to Alabama last week did suck and it's tough, the door's still open and the path is still there. Like I said, they're going to need a little bit of help from some of their SEC counterparts to crack that door wide open, but the path is there, and if they can handle their business, I think that the chips will shake out in their favor. That they should.
Texas A&M got off to a little bit of a rocky start to start the season. They were 2-2. They lost to UCF and Oklahoma State, and then only beaten Northwestern State and Texas Southern. And then you get into SEC play, and they start off 6-1 in SEC play, and then they dropped consecutive games. They lost a 197 game in Tuscaloosa. They lost pretty solidly against Florida at home. They lost a 1-point game against Missouri, and then they lost at Vanderbilt, got beat pretty soundly in that one. 4 straight losses there, but they bounced back these last couple of games. They beat Ole Miss 80-77. They beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma 75-71. So they're trying to bounce back, it looks like.
Yeah, and you could look at most of these teams that, like the Georgias, the LSUs, the Vanderbilts, the teams that came into the SEC schedule with a better record than what you expected them to have to this point of the year. And you kind of look at this and you're like, okay, which team is fool's gold? Where each of them have had stretches where they just look where they've hit a rough patch, like A&M here, losing 4 straight. Like Vanderbilt has fallen. They've lost a couple of games that they shouldn't have. They lost to Missouri last week, then they lose to Tennessee. They go 0-2. Georgia's had a couple of interesting skids after being one of the top ranked teams in the SEC for some time. The SEC is tough. They don't have the standalone, the blue bloods, the premier top level teams. Like they're not, the top of the SEC is not as strong as it was last year by any means. And Florida's, they're a contender, but they're not like a bona fide Final Four team like you had with Auburn and Florida last year. Like the SEC doesn't have that, but the middle of the league is just so much better than I think the middle of a lot of other leagues. And the parity's, a lot deeper than a lot of other leagues. So that's what makes it so tough. And Calipari's talked about this, all season. It's a grind, and in any given day, any given game, you could lose if you're not out there playing your best ball, and if you're not ready, and if you're sleepwalking through it like Arkansas did the first half Saturday. you're susceptible to getting punched in the mouth and getting got by some of these other teams because the league is so deep and it is so good. But Texas A&M, they did have a 4-game skid, but they rebounded quite nicely, and they're going to give Arkansas some trouble. I have no doubts about that. Arkansas is going to need that home court advantage. It's the second to last game at home this season. It's not a Saturday game, but you'd expect that there'd be a decent crowd to show up since there's only one more after that.
Yeah, definitely glad that this is a home game out of really maybe in any of the remaining games, just because of the team and their overall health. Need to stay as healthy as possible, elevate those legs and everything. Looking at the recruiting class real quick, you've got obviously J.J. Andrews, Abdu Tour, Jordan Smith, the most recent commitment. Arkansas ranks 5th nationally right now on the 24/7 Sports composite rankings. And out of those teams, out of the top 7 teams, Arkansas is the only one with just 3 commitments. Everybody has at least 4 or 5 commitments right now. How do you think this roster might shake out? If you just could look in your crystal ball, you're going to bring in these 3 guys. We're not going to see any more high school additions.
Yeah.
But like from a retention standpoint, and then going out and trying to fill spots, have you thought about that yet? Or are you still too engrossed in the season?
I've definitely thought about it. It's never too early to think about retention and where guys might go. Obviously, I think that, I talked on here last week about Billy Richmond's draft stock. And obviously we don't want to, move him on to the NBA. You don't want to kind of beat that drum and end up, pushing him out. But he is playing himself into some of those conversations. Carter Knox with the injury, I don't think that his draft stock is as strong as it was this time last year. I definitely
Wagner,
could see.
Same deal.
Do what?
DJ Wagner, same deal.
Yeah. I mean, you could see realistically those 3 guys, DJ, Billy, and Carter, all come back for a third, for a third go around. But I struggle sometimes with, DJ's taken a back seat these last 2 years. He kind of deferred some of the responsibilities and some of that limelight to Boogie last year. And until Boogie got hurt, he was kind of struggling to find his way. He struggled to find his way in the shadow of Darius Acuff. I've had this isn't based on any like intel or juicy nuggets of info or anything, but just like his final season, does he risk maybe playing second fiddle to Jordan Smith, or does he go somewhere where he knows he's going to guarantee to get have the rock in his hand and be that lead guard? Does he go somewhere smaller to be the guy? I've had those thoughts too, but I do think that he fits alongside Jordan Smith nicely because Jordan Smith isn't a true point guard yet. He's going to try to develop into that, but you need a guy like Wagner to kind of help while he develops along, I think.
You could have Wagner at the point where he obviously feels more comfortable.
Yeah.
It's just there's been better point guards on the roster than him. But we saw him really take off last season when he took over the point guard spot.
And you look at that stretch when Acuff went to the bench Saturday for that 5-minute stretch, DJ rattled off. He had all of his production in the game in that 5-minute stretch to close the half. He had that nice dunk. He knocked down a corner 3. He was instrumental in that 23-9 run that Arkansas had to end the half. And that was with Acuff on the bench. So it's like he's obviously more comfortable in that lead guard spot. And so I think when you have a guy who may be still a little bit raw in some of those lead guard skills, he's the perfect kind of complement to that, to bring him on so he can handle the responsibilities while a guy like Jordan Smith kind of develops on. So I think that would be a good move. And then when you look at the front court, I feel like that Cal might just, hit the reset button on the front court again and go to the portal. Obviously, he's going to have to go to the portal to get replacements for Brazil and Pringle. But I think that you could see a world where Ewan's not back, even though he does have an extra year of eligibility. I could see Cal just wanting a fresh start, and maybe Ewan wanting a fresh start as well. And you're hitting the reset button and getting 2 bigs and maybe a stretch guy in here for next year as well. But from what I've told, all of the focus now, they're not focusing on any high school guys anymore. They're not looking overseas just yet. They're focused on this season and then immediately retention and transfer portal. And that's all that they're looking at right now. After, Jordan Smith was their big pie in the sky. They wanted him, the big primary target of this class. They get him on board, and now it's just let's see where the season goes, and then focus on retention and next year's roster. So that's kind of where things stand right now for Arkansas on the recruiting trail.
All right, Connor, appreciate you joining us. This has been Connor Goodson. You can follow him at Connor Goodson on X and read all of his content at HawgSports. And, of course, read all of his preview stuff for the Texas A&M game coming up and, of course, all the post-game stuff. Appreciate you, Connor.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right, everybody. We're going to bring Kevin Bohannan on next to talk a little bit of Arkansas baseball. As we know, Arkansas beat Xavier in all three games, 5-2, 7-6, and 11-0. This is Dave Van Horn's a quick 1-minute clip of DVH after Arkansas's 11-0 win on Sunday.
I thought Fisher pitched outstanding. I mean, he pitched great last weekend as well. You know, he's got 4 pitches. He really only used 3 of them today for the most part. And it was good to see the guys fight a little bit. And I know we ended up with a couple 3 infield hits, and I think most of those were when they were behind in the count. You know, they did a pretty good job. We got to get a couple guys in our lineup going. They've done a really good job of driving in runs. The key, though, is for the guys in front of them to get on base. And we've got to get the end of our lineup swinging the bat better. Now I got guys at the end of the lineup, instead of taking a walk, they're chasing hits. You can't do that. Whenever you have these 5-game weeks, you can't try to save guys for the next one. Maybe we score some runs, but, you know, the way it worked out this weekend, we didn't use a lot of our guys. We've got some good arms over there that are really ready to roll, and they'll get out there Tuesday and Wednesday and see what happens. We don't know who we're going to start yet on Wednesday, but I imagine we'll go with Lee on Tuesday would be my guess.
Walker Brothers brings you the finest men's clothing from around the world, carefully selected to last, fit right, and help you look your best. From game day essentials to distinguished luxury wear, from a meticulously fitted suit to the perfectly faded pair of jeans, every piece in their collection is hand-selected for enduring quality and iconic style. Experience that undeniable confidence that comes with perfecting your personal style. Visit them at 577 Millsap Road, Suite number 6 in Fayetteville, or at their brand new location, 3503 South 55th Street, Suite 101 in Rogers. I got to say again, you got to check it. Rogers gets all the good stuff. They got Blakeman's now. They've got Walker Brothers' new location, which Walker Brothers' new location, it feels like you're walking into some kind of club or something. They've got a place to get fitted for suits. They've got it looks like an area where everybody would be sitting around smoking cigars if you could smoke inside anymore. Like in some of the areas, clothing, cologne, shoes, just about everything that men need. All right, we're going to bring Kevin Bohannan in to talk a little bit about what's going on with the baseball squad. Kevin, you can follow him at Cabo. Let's bring Kevin up. Cabo Baseball Guru on X, or read all of his content at HawgSports. Kevin, how's it going?
Going good. Always good after a 3-game sweep.
Yeah, 3-game sweep. Arkansas improves to 6-1 overall in the season and got Arkansas State for 2 games in the midweek coming up.
Yeah, and, it was a little bit of everything. Arkansas, of course, mercy ruled Xavier on Sunday. Cam Kozel hit for the cycle on Saturday, but Arkansas had to go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Kuhio Aloy had to have some late game dramatics in that one to win that one. And then, Friday, Xavier out-hit Arkansas. But it was just a little bit up and down. The weather was a little chilly in Fayetteville this weekend. Pitching is really good, Trey. That's one thing coming into the season that, Coach Van Horn, the coaching staff, the media, we knew the pitching was going to be very good. And Colin Fisher just took it to another level. He was just recently named a few minutes ago as SEC Pitcher of the Week. No 2 pitchers. He was the SEC Pitcher of the Week. First time in school history that there's been an 8-inning one-hit shutout. So a little bit of history was made yesterday with Colin Fisher, the big tuna, which I'm going to start calling him the big shark from now on.
Yeah, Fisher, yeah. What is the difference this year with his level of production?
When he came out 2 years ago as a freshman in that 2023 class, he was a freshman All-American that year. Mostly midweek. He had some weekend starts that he would get in there on, but mostly it was midweek games. And he kept the ball down in the zone, but last year he kind of ran into some issues coming off that injury, and the ball would be up in the zone. The key yesterday was, one, his curveball. The spin rate's up around 2,800. I think the highest one was 2,849 that I saw yesterday. And just for comparison, that elite Major League Baseball curveballs are 28 to 3,100. You usually don't get above 3,100. That's really tight. And when it's a really tight spin and it's got those high RPMs, it's harder for the hitter to pick that up. Now, it's one thing to have high spin rate, but it's another one to have it low in the zone. If it looks like it's going to be a strike with that high spin rate, it's going to look like a fastball, and they're swinging over the top of everything. So the key is he's able to throw 3 or 4 pitches anytime in the count that he wants to, and he's able to do it, against righties and lefties. So he's the complete package right now. Now he just has to keep it going.
Through a couple of weeks now, this lineup is statistically better. Is this real life, or is it a smokescreen, or what do you think?
I think, really kind of too early to tell. There was a lot of, if you go into the game threads this weekend, everybody's talking, the first 2 days, first day and a half, I should say, fans are just like, where's the hitting? Where's the hitting? Well, it's all been between 3 guys right now, basically, between Kuhio Aloy, Camden Kojal, and Ryder Helfrich. Those 3 have combined for 11 of the 13 home runs. Kojal, of course, hit for the cycle. That was the 3rd one in in the history of Dave Van Horn being at Arkansas, the 4th in school history. The other 2 were Robert Moore in 2021 and Dylan Leach in 2022. Those were midweek games. Kojal did it on a weekend. So those 3 have really carried it. Aloy's leading the team in batting average at 474. Kojal's at 385, and then Ryder Helfrich's at 310. You got some other guys like Reese Robinette that are hitting well. Reese had back-to-back games where he had multiple hits. That's really big, for his psyche, for his confidence going into, some tougher games and getting into conference play. Like Coach Van Horn said in that clip right there, they need the bottom half of the lineup to start producing at a higher level. They're hitting 278 as a team. That went up this weekend. And when you have 27 hits over, a 2-game stretch, it's really going to go up. They just need to keep with it, keep figuring it out. And the transfers need to figure out what's going on as well.
Yeah, what's going on with the portal guys? Is it just a slow start or something you should be worried about?
I would be worried, and I'm worried. Looking at it from perspective as a coach, just their at bats, they look lost. TJ Pompey, who's played a good third base, and he's had a couple of hits every now and then, but he's hitting 208. Mike Anu's hitting 179. Both of those guys were brought here to hit. Mike Anu hit 15 home runs and 276 from Marshall last year, and there was a debate yesterday on the thread. Well, he should be hitting 280. Coming off the Cape Cod League, being the MVP, he should be hitting higher. And I was like, guys, realistically, if he can get up to 250, I think the coaching staff would be happy after the bad start. Granted, it's only 28 at bats. He has to figure it out. There's a lot of extra movement up there. And TJ Pompey, I think, is just confidence at this point. He can hit. He's athletic. He can make the adjustments. It's about pitch recognition for him. He's having a tough time picking up the spin on the ball, and just he looks like an unfolded lawn chair, like, on the great movie Tin Cup, Kevin Costner, great quote, swing looks like an unfolded lawn chair. So they'll figure it out. I think once they get that going, the bottom of the lineup gets rolling, I think it's a more complete offense.
So Arkansas State up next, 2 games against Arkansas State in the midweek. What are you seeing from the Red Wolves?
They played really tough at Ole Miss last week. They lost 7-6. They swept Stony Brook to open the season in Jonesboro, and then they took 2 of 3 from Eastern Illinois this past weekend. Now, will Arkansas see some of their top arms? Probably not. What Mike Silva has done in the past is those guys may get an inning, but you're not going to see the Friday or Saturday guy. Definitely not going to see the Sunday starter. But they'll probably roll guys out there for an inning or so. But they've got a lot of good in-state guys. Cross jumper who committed to Tennessee originally. He's at Arkansas State now. Jake Henry Williams, a guy who had the privilege of coaching. He's a 2-way guy for them. DH, designated hitter, first base, and pitches for them as well. Then you got Patrick Ingscove, who went to Pulaski Academy, went to Oklahoma for a year, 2 years actually, and now he's at Arkansas State. He was preseason Sun Belt all-conference team. They've got a couple of outfielders. They're going to be a scrappy team. They're going to fight, and Arkansas could lose a game against the Red Wolves. I don't think it will happen because Arkansas has enough pitching this week because they only threw 6 guys this past weekend against Xavier. So that means Peyton Lee's going to start on Tuesday. I would bet Tate McGuire starts on Friday. And last weekend in Arlington, he threw 5 perfect innings. So that's what Arkansas State's going to get on Wednesday. I think the pitching is just too good for Arkansas to drop a midweek series against the Red Wolves. But it should be 2 competitive ball games. Mike Silva's doing a great job in Jonesboro.
So we've got Arkansas State at 3 o'clock on Tuesday, February 24th, and then also 3 o'clock on Wednesday, February 25th. The weather for these games looks like a high of 60, partly sunny on Tuesday, and a high of 68, mostly cloudy on Wednesday. So not awful weather for this one.
Yeah, no, not awful weather at all. It'll be two really good games
today.
Yeah, you got UT Arlington coming in next weekend, so they're getting into the stretch right now of playing a lot of baseball. So you should get guys that get some playing time. Christian Turner came in for Damian Ruiz. They got to figure out if Ruiz's calf is going to be something that keeps him out for a week or two, or if it's just a game-by-game thing, kind of like with Kuhio Aloy's hamstring coming into this weekend. Obviously, Aloy looked really good. He's 100% recovered from that. Looking at what he did this past weekend, at the plate, in the field, he was fine. But they got a 4-game series with Stetson coming up. And then you get into Southeast Conference play against a top 5 Mississippi State team. So a lot of baseball to be played over the next 2.5 weeks. Then SEC play gets going.
And for the series against UT Arlington, that's 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 1 o'clock on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All these games are SEC Network Plus. And weather for this weekend also 68 degrees on Friday, a high of 73 on Saturday, and Sunday high of 65 with a 30% chance of showers. So overall, looks like pretty good weather week for baseball.
Yeah. Once you got through with January and all the cold and snow got out of here, it's looking pretty good across the whole state. And that's the good thing. They get to play outside, and baseball's a game deserve to be played outside. Let's get some good weather for it at least.
Yeah, I can always tell my neighbor has a ton of like daffodils and tulips and stuff, and they all start sprouting. Like it's coming. The warm weather's on the horizon. All right, Cabo, appreciate you, bud.
All right, thanks, Trey.
All right, again, follow him at Cabo Baseball Guru on X and read all of his content at HawgSports. Does a great job breaking things down for us as far as baseball goes, and also with football as well. He provides a lot of great insight there as well. Kevin was a 2-sport guy at Rhodes College, played football and baseball over there in Memphis. So he's got a lot of knowledge about both sports. Okay. Did you know that you can get $250 in bonuses at Bet Saracen if you sign up and put $25 down on your first bet? You just need to use the promo code BIDDY250. That's capital B, lowercase IDDY, 250 as the code. And you can click this link below also on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, or you should just be fine to enter that promo code and you will get the $250 bonus to bet with on Bet Saracen, again, for first-time members over there. So pretty sweet deal for Arkansas's #1 sports betting app.
Arkansas's Fab 5 for Bet Saracen.
Hey, Joe, what do you think was the best shot in Arkansas basketball history?
Was it U.S.'s half-court shot versus the national champions in the big dance? Or maybe it was Scotty's shot in '94 to win it all.
That's a jump ball for me. I'm not even going there.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too.
Bet where most Arkansans bet.
Bet where we bet. Bet Saracen.
All right, we're going to hop out of this pretty quick, but we're going to just answer a couple of questions here and there from users here. This is from Justin Petty, 1924. Trey, has there been any buzz about Arkansas State? A lot of talk about it prior to the Memphis game from South Central Arkansas and even the governor. Has there been any buzz about Arkansas State? What do you mean? You talking about playing them in football? Or are you talking about playing this baseball series? I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe rephrase if you got time. J.Y. Robertson's 85 says, is Billy Richmond hurt or will he play at Texas A&M? I understand that he's fine. He took a shot in the face, right? Snapped his head back. My understanding, he's fine. I think Cal said as much after the game. Razored pride. What does that say? Razored pride. I think I'd like to see Acuff set for 20 minutes Wednesday if he can rest, be 100% for Florida Saturday. My thoughts are win the game. Yeah, if you can sit him for 20 minutes because you're blowing Texas A&M out, that would be fantastic. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if that's going to happen. But he was still, according to one person who saw him on campus, getting in an elevator, and the elevator opens and there's Darius Acuff, and he's got a walking boot on. So. All right, this is from Live and Guy. Says, Trey, besides winning and fundraising, are there areas where Razorback football is behind compared to other SEC programs that need improvement? Facilities, game day experience. What are the deficiencies that we are not paying attention? There are. I mean, like when you consider like elite programs like Alabama and Georgia and so on, yeah, there are things that they've got going. I mean, like I don't know who else in the SEC that doesn't have an LED light show during the game. I was in Knoxville. They have one. Alabama has one. South Carolina has one. Ole Miss has one. Like everybody has that now. Arkansas still does not have that. And you know what? It adds, I think it's a cool feature to add to the games. But Arkansas does not have that. There are things that I have been critical about in game. And I think that's true with basketball too. Like the putting thing is stupid. Nobody ever makes it. You take some time out and you putt all the way across the court try to make it into 3 little holes. Like, that's boring to me. What else? There was something else that they did during a break that I was just like, what are we doing here? This is, the song contest. So they have a contest and you cheer. You're like, do you like Enter Sandman better? Or do you like, who was it? It was Enter Sandman. I think it was Jump Around. I think these are the 2 songs, and you cheer. Do you want to hear Jump Around? And so the crowd cheers, and it's, even, but Enter Sandman wins. And then the cheerleaders, the Palm Squad or something, is up there dancing. I've never seen a Palm Squad dance to Enter Sandman before. I mean, exit light. And they're just like, when I was a kid and Metallica, like if you were a Metallica guy, like you were a metal guy, you were like a hood. I remember one time I was drawing, like people don't know, but like I always have been good at drawing and painting and stuff. And I was drawing for one of the kids asked me if I would draw the Metallica logo. And I was drawing Metallica logo, and it's like, it's got the M and the hook kind of comes down like that. And I'm drawing it. My mom comes in my sees what I'm doing. She goes, don't be one of those kids. Don't be one of those kids. Like I was going down a wrong path or something. But if you listen to Metallica, you were like edgy, But anyway, it was just kind of weird to see the cheerleaders dancing, to Metallica and Enter Sandman. Anyway, I think that's like, what are we doing? Like, why are we having a competition between 2 songs is like a thing, So I also used to think like the Arkansas banner thing, like when they would raise the Arkansas banner and it was like, dun, 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 and it's the Arkansas banner. It used to be like, yeah, let's go. And now people are just like looking at their phone, like it's just taking that used to be like a thing, and now it's not like a big moment anymore for some reason. I don't know why that's changed. Just a few thoughts. But yeah, I mean, there's that, and there's still like you're not where some schools are in terms of NIL fundraising. You're way ahead of where you were in the past. You're up there, but you're not where Texas A&M, or some of those schools are. Georgia, you're just not. Okay. I think we're going to probably wrap it up here. Let's see if we got anything else notable. Yeah, not many questions today. Johnny Campus says 3-9. I guess that's a football prediction score. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they go 3-9. I really wouldn't. And I just think it's year one. Here's the thing. Here's the things that factor, right? You've got you've got a team that's starting over, a brand new culture, so many new players. And while it's easier to compete year one because of you're able to actually put a roster together. I mean, if like this was previous schedule, like this roster would be rough looking. But you've got to instill your culture, your system, all this kind of stuff. It's very competitive out there. All these other teams went to the portal to build their rosters too, fill in their holes. So there's that aspect of it. The year one installation, everything being kind of new. The second part of it is there is a huge unknown at quarterback right now. They may end up being great at quarterback. I mean, if you look generally around college football, it's not like one school is just constantly producing, great quarterbacks that get drafted first round all the time. Oklahoma was doing that for a while, when they had, they had like three guys, I guess, that Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, they had a little streak there. All of those guys transferred to Oklahoma, by the way. But there's not a school that's just like producing first-round draft picks over and over and over again at quarterback. It's a guy. It's just so specific. Like it's so hard to be an NFL quarterback. It's just there's not a lot of guys like that out there. So it's not just like a school can like just consistently churn them out. So maybe Arkansas has one of those guys. Maybe they don't. You don't have a proven guy at quarterback, and that is the biggest question mark on this whole team to me. So, yeah, they could go 3-9. If they don't have a quarterback, they're not going to be a good football team. If they don't have a good quarterback, they're not going to be good. If one of these guys emerges and shows, hey, I'm a gamer, when the game is on the line, I'm going to go get you a win, then they can have success. I believe that they can have success. But there's so many other things that are going to play into it with game management and stuff. My biggest thing for this team is I don't want to see them do the stupid things. I don't want to see them turn the ball over, be careless with the football. That's something that Tim Cramsey said that I was really pleased to hear the other day, just how much they value the football. And if you go back and look statistically in his time at Memphis, they have protected the football. They've been a good turnover ratio team. Arkansas under Pittman was terrible turnover team, both forcing and keeping. Very bad. And it cost them games. It cost Pittman his job ultimately because they weren't good at protecting the football. If you're not good at protecting the football, those are the kind of things that you can mitigate. Sure, like the good teams have better players that are better at forcing turnovers and better at holding onto the ball and all that kind of stuff. But it's got to be something that's emphasized. Indiana, and we'll talk about Indiana forever, but Indiana lost one fumble, and it was the first half of the first game, and didn't lose one the rest of the season. I mean, Arkansas was good for that. How often? I mean, against Tennessee, I think they lost like 3 fumbles maybe. You're not going to win games like that. Like if you can take care of the football, I always say turnovers, penalties, special teams, keys to winning every game. If you can win turnovers, if you can play well on special teams, and you don't kill yourself in the penalty department, which Arkansas also did last year, those are the 3 things that you can take care of. You may not have as talented an offense as the other team or as good a defense, but penalties, turnovers, and special teams are 3 areas that are more up to you. How you're coached, how you're prepared, what your mental state is, those are up to you. And if you can take care of those, you're going to have penalties, obviously, but mainly I'm talking like pre-snap penalties, losing your cool, unsportsmanlike conduct type of stuff like that. Those are things that you can control. Taking care of the football, you can control that. You're gonna have instances where somebody's head hits the ball perfectly and there's nothing you can do about it. There's going to be stuff like that. But for the most part, like Arkansas was just careless with the ball last year. Penalties, turnovers, special teams. Like, yeah, you're going to miss some kicks and stuff, but sprinting downfield, going full speed, staying in your lane, being disciplined, all of those things factor into special teams. It's a very important part of the game, and it's an area where you can win by being smart and being disciplined. And you don't necessarily have to have this overwhelming talent advantage on special teams like you do on offense or defense, or like it helps. So Okay. All right, everybody. Appreciate you joining me. Thanks to Connor Goodson for hopping on, Kevin Bohannan as well. And yeah, it won't be long for football is here, and important basketball game this weekend against Texas A&M, and then 2 games against Arkansas State, and then the weekend series against UT. Is it UT Martin? UT Arlington? Which one is it? Martin or Arlington? UT Arlington, I think. I don't have my schedule up anymore. All right. Appreciate you joining me, everybody. This has been Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com, and we'll catch you next time. If I can bring up my media assets.